what it takes as far as getting there, what the fire department is doing, and what's waiting to help you when you do have a fire in your house. This is a volunteer fire department. Nobody's here most of the time. So when there's a fire call, we get notified on our pagers, which is what I've got right here, and then we have to respond to a firehouse. We have 3 in our fire district, and pick up a fire truck, and then drive to your house and go do something about the situation that you've got in hand. So one of the things to be aware of when you have a fire in your house is you're on your own for perhaps 8 to 10 minutes, maybe a little longer in the wintertime, before we can get a fire truck there. Now, firemen are going to be showing up at your house a little sooner than that. We'll talk about that in just a minute. But the main thrust here is, we're going to talk about here, smoke detectors for early detection of a fire, and then you get out of the house, get the kids out of the house, you have a meeting place, which is what Edith is all about, exit drills in the home. You should know where you're going to go and where you're going to meet your kids so you're sure. The last thing we want to know when we get, well, we want to know it first thing I should say, but the last thing we want to hear is that somebody is trapped in the house. Because we're going to make every effort to go get that person. And we're going to demonstrate how that's done here in just a minute. But that's something to keep in mind. And what I wanted to go to is that there is 2 kinds of smoke. There is cold smoke and there is hot smoke. Cold smoke occurs from a smoldering fire. And this could be a cigarette in a cushion. It could be an extension cord that is underneath a rug that's igniting the rug. We have a lot of those kinds of things over here that start fires. But cold smoke is a small, smoldering fire. But what it does do is it produces an awful lot of carbon monoxide and other nasty things that take your breath away, literally. Now, the hot fire, the hot smoke, is, here's the cold smoke traveling inside here. The smoke detector's already gone off in the living room down here, and you can see it traveling up inside the center stairwell here. But notice at the floor level, there's not that much smoke. That's important. That's why we tell everybody, get down on the floor. Look at these pictures over here. Fire traveling across the ceiling in this hallway, but look at the floor. The plastic's not even melted in the outlet. Here's a switch plate that was in there. We'll talk more about that in a second. So this is the cold smoke. Notice how lazy it is. Up in here, bedroom for the children, not much going on. Over here is the master bedroom, nothing going on. If that smoke detector hadn't gone off, you would never have known you had a fire in the house. Now the stairwell smoke detector is going off. So now maybe you're getting alerted. We highly recommend having a fire alarm system where they're connected and you get alerts on every floor when a smoke detector goes off. But any fire alarm is good. Now, look at this open space here. A lot of the new houses that are being built in the fire district have all these open main entryways. They go up into a balcony. It's beautiful. It's nice to look at, but it's deadly. You can't get from this room to that room safely and down those stairs to get the kids out. So we want to make sure that you know how to get to the windows and open the windows on the side over here halfway. Open at the top, open at the bottom. As smoke and heat comes in the room, it goes out the top, fresh air comes in the bottom. Stick your head right in the window. But make sure that we've gotten started. Okay. Here's how that lazy smoke sits in here. Now watch what happens. Either your furnace turns on because it's calling for heat for another portion of the house and blows all this stuff in there and starts suffocating you immediately, or it breaks into open flame. So now we have a little fire going in here and it's becoming hot smoke. Watch what happens here. Look at the angry smoke here now moving very, very quickly up the stairs. There's no other circulation in here other than that fire. All of a sudden, this reservoir of dangerous smoke here is being sent upstairs. Look at the master bedroom here. You still don't have smoke in the master bedroom. If you think you're going to wake up to smoke, don't bet your life on it, because most people will not wake up to smoke. Smoke has things in it called free radicals. Takes the oxygen away. You go into a deeper sleep. You don't wake up most of the time. 7,000 people a year in the United States find that out the hard way. And they don't remember it because they don't know they're dead. So, look at how this is traveling in here now. Look at this, the heat line up here at the ceiling level, and notice down at the floor level, smoke is going in the other direction to feed the fire. That's your best bet for having fresher air down at the floor level. It's exactly what happened right here. Fire traveled across the top, not on the bottom. By the way, this door, the white part showing right here, is this door. Notice that the door was closed during the fire. The trim, the smoke around here, because the trim is off, they put a wallpaper up. There's a sign here that says, "Give me a break." So that kid in that room would have survived. This is the master bedroom. The door, which is directly across the hall from this door, was open. Anybody in that room would have been dead. So, this is the kind of thing that can happen in a house, and look now how the smoke has rapidly traveled into the house. You would not be surviving in this house at this point in time. You can shut the fire down and let that stabilize for a minute. So what happens? Now you've discovered the fires in the house, you've got your smoke detectors alerted you, and now you get your people outside and you call 911. We're going to respond. We turn on our blue lights, and we're responding to the firehouse to get some equipment. I'm a primary driver down at Station 2 at Bacchus and Bay, and we go in there, we get the fire truck. 3 minutes from dead sleep at night to the time that truck rolls out the door in the summertime. We can get out the door in about 3 minutes. You should try that sometime in your own house. It's a lot of fun. Then, once that happens, firemen are also getting in their cars and they're driving to the scene. I'll need you behind the gray line here, guys. Now these firemen are putting on gear.
Boys, back here.
For your taxpayers out there, the gear they're putting on is about $3,000 worth per fireman. We have 110 firemen in this fire district. The air packs they're putting on is about $1,800 a piece per air pack. And no, they're not oxygen tanks, they are air packs. It's compressed air. They last about 40 minutes or so. So they're putting on what we call bunker gear. They have their flame-proof hoods on. You wear those underneath to keep your ears from getting hurt. It is not uncommon to have 400 to 500 degrees in these rooms when we go into them. Now, that is a problem, of course, when you think about your turkey cooks at about 425, right? So we're going to go in there and try and find you. Now, if there's somebody in the house, you tell us right away when we get there. We're going to make every effort to search that house before the fire gets too big. We're going to break windows, we're going to make ventilation, we'll burn up more of the house while we're doing the search. If we're sure everybody's out of the house and you can confirm that, you've had your drills, you've gotten outside, then we know we can go in and start working on the fire itself. It does not take long. All the combustibles, think of all the plastics, the foams, the bedding, the mattresses, all of that stuff is going to provide an awful lot of heat for a fire. Okay, they've got their masks on now, they're getting their air tanks on. It typically takes about 1.5 minutes to put your gear on when we get to the scene, and another 1.5 to 2 minutes to put the air pack on and get ready to go. So they're going to search on the floor first. We take tools with us so we can bash around on the floor and tap on things and see whether or not it's wood or maybe it's a body that's down there. Remember, we're underneath this and this amount of smoke, and it's kind of hard to see inside. Just, I need you back of the line over here. So, up here at the top, you stand up, bad news for you. Down here in the ground, you're better off. In this particular house at this point in time, it wouldn't matter. All these rooms are filled with deadly carbon monoxide. Now, this is for the kids. What makes that sound, or who made that sound? Darth Vader, absolutely right. So those of you that watch the Darth Vader Star Wars stuff, that's what they had on. So kids, you'd be surprised where we find kids in houses. They've been found behind stoves, between the mattress and the springs on the bed, in closets, in a toy box. Kids, we want you to be down on the ground, we want you on the floor, we want you over by a window. Remember, opening up a window top and bottom will let fresh air in the bottom. You can't get through this hallway now. That is, somebody goes through there is going to be dead. So we want you kids to get down on the floor, stay visible where we can find you. We'll come get you, and then we'll get you out a window. That's what they're practicing out the back of the firehouse here. They're climbing out the window onto a fire ladder and getting down and out. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to have them open this up, and we're going to see just how much smoke has moved around this house just because of that amount of flame that was inside there. By the way, in the wintertime, make sure your hydrants are shoveled out. We still need that water. Now you can see the amount of smoke that traveled over this entire structure just from that little fire that was inside there. Yep, it's pretty stinky. I gotta tell you, when you come home at night after you've been in a fire like this and we chase it down, it's really a problem. Now, my brother is going to be explaining, or has explained down there, about the truss roofs. We bail out of a house 10 minutes after a truss roof is involved in a fire. And then we do what we call a surrounding drill. Because we're not going to be inside when that roof comes down. That's 10 minutes. That's about the time that we get to a fire, depending on how the alarm came in. Now, here's what the air pack sounds like when they stop moving. Just reset it. We're going to wait for this one to time out. It's what we use for productivity in the fire ground. If an air pack sounds its alarm, it means the fireman's not doing anything. Or it could mean they're trapped. But so we get the warning lights right now. It gets louder. So it makes a bunch of different sounds over here so that we get alerted. And the reason it makes the sounds at different levels is to let the fireman push the button so that it cancels the alarm. But if it gets to that last one there where it's screeching and the alternating tones, then we know something's wrong. Because he couldn't reset it. We got to go find him. Okay, we've got a couple comments to be made here. If anybody's got any questions, we'll be taking them afterward.
I just wanted to point out, they mentioned about breaking glass when we get there to ventilate a house. Think about it, that we were going into your house is 600 degrees or thereabouts, the windows have swollen. We cannot open them like you could today if you went home and opened your windows. So we have to break the glass and take out the screens, because the screens will prevent about 80% of the airflow. So in order to ventilate a house quickly to try and rescue people or save ourselves, we have to take out the windows. And that's why you'll see firemen breaking windows in a lot of houses. Yet the next day you'll be able to go there and open them up.
Okay, we want to thank you for attending our open house and seeing what we've got to offer here. This is your fire department. You pay for it. We volunteer to provide it, man it, and keep it going. You've got fire taxes, which pays for the equipment, and you get a fund drive notice in the mail, and that fund drive pays the firemen, the association here, and it buys our uniforms and the other things, the manpower side of it to run it. The taxes part of it pays for this firehouse, the fire apparatus. Just so you know where your money goes. Alright, we're going to have these two firemen here, husband and wife team's going to climb the ladder truck here, give you an idea of just what it takes to climb up 95 feet. It looks like it's really solid. It is, until you get up there in the wind and you're throwing some water out the top of it.
Be careful, honey. You can really see now. Okay, good.
They have to put belts on, and they're required to wear the belts once they get up top. The average setback of a house from the street in the older residential areas is about 65 to 70 feet. So we can park in the street and reach the roof of your house from the street. Newer houses get set back further, and 73,000 pounds that fire truck weighs. You can imagine that going down the driveway. We got to get there. We'll get there. Notice that when you're climbing, there's always 2 points of contact. winter contact when you're climbing the ladder. Now imagine you're doing that in a snowstorm when the ladder is icy. It's spraying and it's 10 degrees outside. Still gotta get up there. By the way, this being a volunteer department, we're full right now as far as our lot of manpower, but something to keep in mind if you want to do something for your community. We run 2 ambulances, about 2,400 calls a year.
Look at the Blackbird station.
That's the liaison up there. You can see the sailboat out in Lincoln Ferry up there.
Stay right here. Amber.
They just closed what is called the man gate at the top of it up there. That's to keep them from tumbling back down the ladder. A lot of times the ladder truck is in the smoke of the fire. That's where the water has to be. They have to be up there. Those big yellow tanks on the side of it is an air supply that goes up to the bucket. And what you saw here is the portable air containers on these backpack units. They have up there where they can plug into them and use the big cylinder. And they can control the nozzles from up there. And then there's also one electric nozzle that's controlled from the pump handle.
Yeah, you guys ready?
Liaison up there. It wobbles around a little bit, not for the faint-hearted. And also for your taxpayers, $800,000 sitting on the rubber wheels there.